Good evening and welcome to a Thursday night edition of the Buddy Martin Show. Glad to have you with us on Valentine's Day Eve. If you didn't remember, go right now and start making plans. I'm going to give you some free marital advice for a man who's been married over the years, some 60 years. Let me just tell you, I got the secret, and don't fall for the, oh, it doesn't matter stuff. It does matter, all right? So news tonight. A member of Billy Napier's coaching staff is leaving for Miami. It's never good when somebody on your staff leaves, but it's never really good when they leave for Miami. Will Harris is going to coach the cornerbacks. Sudden departure today announced, or at least came out, that he's leaving. I don't know what that means exactly, other than I've heard good things about him. I've heard some not so good things about him. I heard about the conflicts he's had with others. I'm not privy to the inner workings of this kind of thing, but maybe others are who come along. Ben Troop should be joining us in just a moment. Get his take on things up there in Savannah, GA. And it's time for Franz Beard tonight. He's full of basketball stuff, but he's going to settle in and talk a little football. And we've got Rob Brown tonight, our buddy from Sidelines, SEC Sidelines, who does a terrific job on that show. So it's going to be a fun night. I want your questions and answers, your participation. So jump aboard. Tell your friends and neighbors. The Buddy Martin Show is now officially on the air.
Yes, it's time again for Buddy Martin. Call him up and tell him what you're thinking. But be kind because he's doing the best he can.
Better, stronger, faster.
Mama says that alligators are ornery because they got all them teeth but no toothbrush.
Hey, what if the voice calls while you're gone?
Take a message.
Bye!
You ready, champ?
I'm ready for this my whole life.
I'm incapable of small talk. But that's why you love me, right?
Kind of intimidating to be in the presence of so many great athletes.
Good evening and welcome to Valentine's Day's Eve. I don't know what that means. I made it up. It's the day before Valentine's, and it's now Eastern Time, 9:03. If you haven't done anything about it, you're waiting a little bit late. But I got a bunch of married dudes here on this show, even Ben Troop. We're going to coach you up on a couple of things you need to know about Valentine's Day, and it does matter. The news today, not real good on what would look like a pretty smooth sailing spring for Billy Napier. Just as we were about to pat him on the back, he lost a member of his staff, believed to be a key member of his staff. I don't know why. I've heard rumors. Maybe you have. Give me your 2 cents worth here. We'll talk about it on this program. And, of course, we got basketball, women's basketball tonight. That's why tonight we're not going to have Lauren with us. He's there at the basketball game and getting clobbered by South Carolina. What else is new? Everybody has been doing it. So, Academy Finley having a hard time getting over that hump. And don't expect her to be beating South Carolina, but she's got to be more competitive than that. I think she's going to fall below 500 tonight. We'll see what happens. So, but the men's basketball team on fire, en fuego, as they say, and got a big game in Alabama. It's the Iron Bowl of basketball, Ben Troop. They're talking about hoop like they never talked about hoop up in Alabama. There's some big, big Sunday basketball fans up there in Auburn and Alabama. How you doing, Ben?
I'm doing good, buddy. Always good to see you. Buddy is already letting y'all men know. It's Valentine's Day Eve. If you're thinking in your mind, I'm not getting her anything. All right. Okay.
Just remember we told you, right?
Just remember this. As my daddy would say, if my mom would tell my dad, I don't want anything, my dad go,
don't fall for that.
Get her. Valentine's Day is another way of saying you better get her something. It might not be what she wants, but you better get her something, because this is the day that women call other women just to brag about what they got or what they didn't like that they got.
My husband got me for Valentine's Day. What? A new car. I didn't get mine a card. I thought you said card. I know you said car.
I mean, look, and a piece of bill, man. I'm gonna get your book out to you, man. That's my fault, sir. Look at piece of bill. It's the thing about it is, buddy, my dad has done that kind of stuff on Valentine's Day for my mom, but like he done went all out. Now, mom and dad been married a long time. My dad will go and get my mama chocolates that he knows she doesn't like, so she'll just say, you know what, you eat them. But get her something. Make sure you get her something. But I have heard some of the rumblings about potentially losing a key staff member. Those type of things are going to happen, buddy. Because the one thing you can say about Billy Napier since he's been here, is people like pulling from his staff. So when people start talking about what he does or hasn't done, well, he's definitely has some very, very attractive, staff members. So, but I will say this. I think that Billy Napier is the type of guy to where he's never trying to hold nobody back. So if an opportunity comes, I'm pretty sure they go talk to him about it. He goes, look, man, I went from the head coach of Louisiana to the head coach of Florida. So I understand when opportunities present themselves, you got to go do what's best for you and your family. But I just think for Billy Napier that's why you make sure, you're trying to get the best coaches out there. And in getting the best coaches, they're going to be attractive to other teams. And
you want other teams to want your coaches. That
of course.
Coaches.
And another thing with that is, let's not lose sight of the fact that this is one of the hardest places to coach at in the country, regardless of NFL, college. So people always talking about, well, Coach Armstrong, he left. Yeah, because while he had a bounce back season in 2024 at the end of the year, that's a lot of pressure to be a young defensive coordinator at the University of Florida and your team, because it's the grind of it. It's not so much, buddy, you don't want to be successful here. They go, dude, it's rough. Like Florida is, hot seat ain't even the word. Because so as much as we put all the pressure comes back to Billy Napier, all the other coaches feel it now. But hey, I just know for Coach Billy Napier, he got the players. And when you got the best players, not that anybody can coach them, but anybody can coach them. I'm saying you just, so as long as you're getting the right players in here, you'll be able to attract, and it is Florida. So the same way somebody just came and took one of ours, now we got to go take some from someone else, from another squad. But it's the nature of the beast. It's the nature of the beast.
Yeah, I got a good story today. I read. Congratulations to Zach Goodall, who did a very nice piece on the summation of the spring. We'll get into that a little later on about the numbers, how many scholarships, how many players left, graduated left, and how many players entered the transfer portal, and et cetera, how the team is still based on getting high school players. The portal, he admits he was slow to come around, and so maybe I screwed this up, whatever, but maybe he didn't. It's kind of a touch and go. So questions tonight, a lot of questions going on here. Joining us here with Ben Troop. Franz Beard will be along in about 10 minutes. We'll pick his brain, and then Rob Brown. First of all, can you tell people where they can get 84 Reasons, your podcasts?
Anywhere you can hear podcasts. Apple Podcasts, anywhere you can listen, we're there. I didn't even realize how many podcasts and networks there are. So anywhere there are podcasts and networks, you can hear 84 Reasons. And we got some big shows coming up here real soon. I think the thing about football now, buddy, is that's why I was happy that we kind of got into the NIL world when it first jumped off, because it changes every day. I've spoken to Ben Chase. I've spoken to Savannah Bailey and company about just how much they have to really be intent on being, really be intent on, focusing in these meetings, because there's so much information given to them. Then they got to give that information to the players. But yeah, man, 84 Reasons has been a blessing, because I think for me, you know how it is, buddy. We had, I think the first time the first player that me and you did together, I think, was Antonio Valentino. He was on here. Yeah. And I think the thing is, I realized real quick is, it's my chance to humanize these players, because they got so much pressure, so much attention on them, that I want people to just say, listen, I want them to root for you. You just happen to wear the orange and blue. I get it. That's how they know you. But because you know how it is, buddy. I mean, everybody,
you stay connected. Good. You stay connected.
Of course.
And you've had good relationships. A couple other things. People want to know also, ask me about Southern Pigskin. You and I used to work for them.
Yes.
What's happened? Maybe you can update folks on that and tell me where that's going. Well,
Southern Pigskin, right now it's in it's still got a shot to make it back, but if it does come back, it's gonna be with with the help of the Martins, Brendan Martin being at the forefront of it. And buddy, had a great conversation with Brendan.
I didn't know that. Good.
And I think the thing that I took from Brendan is not to really get into what we talked about in detail, but Brendan is a visionary, and if you just listen to him and not try to, just listen to him, and because I tell Brendan all the time, look, man, you don't have to dumb down your vision just because people don't get it. I get it. I really, really get it. And when done right, if Brendan Martin called you to be on this train before it left the station, it's not going to be the same once it gets going. So I do hope. I am looking forward to the Southern Pigskin getting back out there.
You divulge private information. I didn't know y'all talked. I know you were going to talk, but that's good. Okay.
Yeah. I mean, I spoke to because sometimes, buddy, I just want to pick Brendan's brain because I think sometimes I tell Brendan, sometimes, man, don't waste your time trying to tell people what you're trying to do. Sometimes they just want to know for the sake of knowing, because it's not going to do what you know how to do. You got enough people that rock with you, and I'm looking to be on that train whenever that train leaves the station, no doubt.
Okay, now here's a couple more quick ones. Feinberg wants to troop or my book.
I just text Pizza Bill his address, his book is going coming out tomorrow. I got your Pizza Bill.
Because I mean, if people ask me every now and then about it, you probably ought to email me, tell me where you get it. A lot of questions people asking here about animals. Says, with Will Harris leaving, does it put Will Muschamp in a position to come to Florida? My answer to that is no. It's not going to be Will Muschamp.
I mean, here's the thing about the Will Muschamp thing, right? Here's the thing. It seems like an easy fix. Go out there and get Will Muschamp. Yeah, but it's a lot more complex than people be knowing. I mean, yes, if you call him, he's going to pick up the phone. But I think that when you start talking about the players that come here, the coaches that are hired here, it's not an easy situation. Because, buddy, you know how complex things get behind the scene. And listen, with Coach Will Harris deciding to move on to greener pastures, that's gonna look. I can't remember the D-line coach that was here. I want to say under McElwain. Within a week's time, he was in a young man's living room with a Florida, working for Florida. Got fired, and then he went to Tennessee at the same kid's house. It's people, listen to me. It is a business like no other. Do not let college football make you think this is one of the biggest businesses in sports. So when people trying to make business, because the whole thing about it is, buddy, people try to make lateral moves. And I'm never going to question a player if he decides to leave or a coach if he decides to leave, because I know these ain't easy decisions to make. They're hard decisions to make, but they got to live with it either way. Listen, I'm a rep orange and blue no matter what. I just know that Florida ain't for everybody. And that's whether you came and stayed or you decided to leave, because I think about Princely, and it's not to get on Princely individually. Princely goes to Ole Miss, and he has a good year. And based off what he knew Florida to be, I'm going to go Chris Rump. That's who it was. Yeah, appreciate a piece of bill. It was Chris Rump. He goes to Ole Miss. Obviously, we beat Ole Miss, and it was a spectacle after the game. I think that's the thing about Florida that no one ever say. Can a person leave Florida and have success outside of here? Absolutely. And you hope they do. But when they don't, I wonder, do they question, should I have rolled this thing out? Because, buddy, you know how it is. I mean, I've spoken to a lot of players. I spoke to a bunch of players, that went to other teams. What was your guy that you loved, the receiver that went to UCF?
It was help me out here. From Ocala.
From Ocala.
No, actually from Gainesville. Give me a minute. My brain is freezing.
It's funny, right? He played against us this year.
Football, yeah.
And what happens is once a Gator, always a Gator. I don't care who you are. When I had him on the show and I'm talking to him, I said, man, I don't ask them do they regret leaving because I wouldn't put them in that position. But they always say, look, man, they always say, Whittemore. Listen, Lisa Bill is on fire tonight. Whittemore.
Yeah, we need to get Bill on the show.
Yeah, man. I
him
think,
and his brother.
So what happens is when I spoke to him and I'm asking him about, I don't ask him about what goes into leaving, man. I wish him the best. But I think, buddy, Odom, I mean, he's a legacy player. And he had to, it happens. It's just, we fall in love with coaches and players really, really quickly. And when we do that, we do ourselves a disservice because, listen, nobody is here forever. And the turnaround with coaches are quicker than players. You think the portal is quick. No, these coaches be one and done. We had Captain Chaos here, right? He lasted 1 year.
I forgot his name already, yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And so for me, when you see successful teams in college football, the one thing they all have in common, they got a head coach that's been there for a long time.
All the NFL coaches come into play because now the jobs are more competitive. Now you have a whole flooding of new coaches in the NFL. That means the churn even more. The coaches are being hired. Look at Florida hired the Atlanta Falcons guy for as their GM.
Yeah,
kind of guy. I mean, these jobs have become interchangeable because they're paying so much money. Now, what I'm told by people like Shane is it's a much better job in the NFL because you don't have to recruit, whatever. But anyway, all right. So let me ask you a couple other questions on the same subject. And I've heard a lot of different things, not the least of which is one, I can't substantiate this, is that there was a conflict with the guy who went to Miami and it was
Will Harris.
Yeah, Will Harris over the defensive coordinator.
I kind of let me say this. Okay, when you start talking about what coaches come to Florida for, they come in here to boost their resume, right? They come here to boost their resume, and what happens is, when it doesn't go your way, right? Vinny Cesare, he gets here, right? And they say he coaching the safeties, right?
Yeah.
Which means Coach Will Harris is only going to be coaching the cornerbacks, right. Which means that whatever plans he had to be the D coordinator, that's out the window. Well, behind the scenes, right? Let me tell you, Coach Will Harris
Roberts got being elevated.
Yeah, and buddy, here's the thing, right? Here's the thing that people need to understand about coaching. It's very, very simple. You're either going to get coaches who are young, energetic, and up and coming, or you're going to coach with coaches you've coached with before. Most of these coaching staff, they coach with each other for a long time, because I want people that understand my scheme already. I want people that understand me already. So I think that, buddy, when you start talking about, Sincere, when he gets here, former player, national championship, player at Alabama, understands what level of aggression you want them safeties to play with. Mm-hmm. Listen, Coach Will Harris did an incredible job, but what we see on the outside and what's being felt on the inside is different. So, and like I said, coaches are not loyal to teams. They're loyal to opportunity. It's not the team they coach for. They're trying to be in the best opportunity as possible. So I'm not mad at Coach Will Harris, because just like Coach Armstrong, just like every other coach, it don't take but one season to make you go, this is different, man.
Well, I'm hearing, though, there was a major conflict.
I can believe that. I
don't know the detail. I can't prove that. That's the best I've got at the moment. By the way, let's just tell you right now, this program is being brought to one of our sponsors who's with us all the time, and that would be our friends in Gainesville, Wilson, Ocala, and Lake City, Meldon Law. Melden Law is in the law business, but they like to get it support the University of Florida. They do it in a big way. They sponsor this show. They sponsor many things. They have a fantastic giveaway. If you check out their Facebook page, Melden Law, you can snare tickets for all kind of hard to get things. Also, they want you to know that if you have a problem legally and you're not happy with the way your student is being handled, they'll give you a second opinion. I've recently done business with them on that legal matter, and they've done a great job. They put me in touch with a terrific person. I hope to have good news soon. Melden Law, they won't back down. All right. So before Franz comes on, let's be sure and talk about Valentine's Day. Okay. Now, my wife and I have been married a little over a year now, and I got to get something. So I did. I went and got a little flower, and I got a little vase, not expensive, and I got a little box of candy. Flowers are good, candy's good, but do not let her tell you, oh, it's no big deal, because it is a big deal. All you young marrieds out there, I told you, don't fall for that, because you're going to pay for it one way or the other.
You just said it, but it is. Let me tell you something, okay? Fellas, let me go ahead and get something on your mind, off your mind. No, it ain't fair. So Valentine's Day ain't fair to the guys. It's not. Get that out your mind. Who cares? You better get her something. Mm-hmm. Right? Listen to people go, Ben, is that the barometer?
You heard the doghouse.
You better get her. Now, I asked my wife to give me some suggestions, and I didn't know what type of can of worms I was opening. I got a list, and she go at the end. She put, you don't have to get everything on the list. You can get gift cards for everything on the list. But here's a list. This is what I'm gonna do. For mine. I mean, listen, my wife loves gardening, loves it. Like, we got a freaking garden in my backyard right now. I can't stand it. I told her about the Buddy Martin. You can grow your stuff right there in your house.
I don't have that anymore.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah. But what I'm saying, so we got the garden in the house. Now between me and you and friends, my wife got real energetic about that garden when we first got it. And that was it. But listen, I've been to Home Depot. No lie. I've been to Home Depot about 4 times I'm getting rocks that weigh about 600 pounds. I done did it like 3 or 4 times. They had to get a forklift. And she got the nerve to tell me, well, if they put it on the back of your truck with the forklift, how are you supposed to get it off? I said, please leave me alone. You're not.
Oh man.
And she told me, she says, don't hurt you. She said, don't hurt your back, because you got to go get some more rocks.
Yeah. So it got to be your garden too, Jack.
Listen. So at the end of the day, we got this. So at the end of the day, listen, she said she wanted a massage, got a massage. We're gonna get the flowers.
Yeah.
And we're gonna get some flowers that's gonna die anyway. We're gonna get some flowers, and we're gonna get her like some she want me to go my wife likes to sew, like she make blankets and stuff. So I go get her like some of the material and stuff, and just try to earn some cool points, because she tried to hit me with, what you want for Valentine's Day? I told her peace. I just want peace. I don't want anything. I don't want anything of material. Because men do not call it. I'm not going to call Buddy and call friends and say, what you get for Valentine's? What?
Oh, my goodness.
As my daddy would say, this is why my dad said cookie cakes was invented for Valentine's Day. Cookie cakes. It's tomorrow, it's going to be a bunch of them. They're going to run out of them at the cookie cake. Sorry, we fresh out. We sold the first 100. They gone already. So get to the mall early, people. Get to the mall early.
All right, let me just jump in here and welcome this guy. By the way, we have a large audience standing by right now. I'd say one of the largest we ever had. It must be because of our Valentine's Day advice. I'm not sure, or it could be Franz Beard. Good evening to you, Franz.
Good evening, guys. Ben, how's everything up in Savannah? Have they got
everything is good. I hope that the snow that we got this year, I hope it's not coming back, because I don't know what happened with the snow, but I think we should be past that. Where only in Georgia, where it could be 75 degrees on Tuesday, 35 degrees on Wednesday.
Yes, but you get St. Patrick's Day coming soon, so you'll be able to watch all the drunken revelers.
Oh yeah. All these listen. Everybody's Irish. You know what I'm saying? With the St. Patrick's Day, I said, sir, just because we died,
true. Yeah, we know about that.
I'm just saying, just because we died at Savannah River Green, and just because you can drink green beer, you are not Irish, sir. You no. You are from the backwoods of Georgia. Sit your behind down somewhere.
Well, listen, guys, we got some people that wanted to pick your brain here, and Ben's. They're serious. I'm assuming it's either about Valentine's Day or about the football changing. I was in the middle of working on a piece of giving Billy an early spring grade. You're going to have to give it right now because I just read a nice piece by Zach Goodall on how well things have gone for Billy this spring, how he's building another team around high school recruits, not so much the portal. And he was very happy, and he admitted he didn't know the portal very well. He thought he might have screwed it up, but now he thinks, now this comes along. First of all, good evening to you. Thanks, folks, for all your participation. This is the great Franz Beard. He's Mr. Basketball around here, but he knows a little football, too, which he and Ben will share. Franz, all right, talk to me about this whole deal with Will Harris.
I've probably heard about as much as you have that there was a major conflict going with another coach. We can only speculate who it was.
Mm-hmm.
So
I got a coordinator, right? I mean,
that in all likelihood it was Ron Roberts, and let me tell you something about Ron Roberts. Ron Roberts is one of these guys that you either love him or you can't stand him. There ain't any in between with him from everything I know about him. The guys who play for him love him. The guys who play against him don't. And I can understand that. Will Harris is here 1 year. No connections to the program. Spent a year, had a really good year, I think, as coaching the secondary. Vast improvement over what we had before. But as Ben said earlier, it's about opportunity. And assistant coaches live with conflicts with other coaches all the time. Show me a staff where everybody is holding hands and on tippy toes singing songs, and I'll show you something that doesn't exist. Every staff has conflicts. It's just that when you have conflict and you perceive a better opportunity, that's your ticket out. And this was the ticket out for Will Harris. Here's what I do know is that Billy's got a stack of resumes like this and some really, really outstanding coaches who want to come here and coach. Florida is a hot ticket right now. People perceive that Florida is about to take off. They see all these starters coming back. They see an offense that may be borderline unstoppable this year. And they want to be here and be part of it. So here's the deal. Coaches come, coaches go. Not too many people are going to lose sleep over this loss. Are we sad to see him go after 1 year? Sure. Will there be another coach who'll come in and pick up the torch? Yeah. And probably a really good one, maybe better than the one we had. But we'll only find that out when we get out there and see what happens, see how the guys interact and everything. The one advantage Will Harris had, if he had remained, is he already has relationships built up. The good news is a new coach is going to come along and he's going to have a chance to build better relationships if he's smart and knows how to do it.
All right. Look, I wouldn't profess to know that much about the coaching staff or be able to actually evaluate them. I'm not that smart about football. I know there was a time when I had a little better feel for it. I don't know Ron Roberts. I've never met him. I don't really even know Billy Napier. I certainly don't know the rest of those guys. But we have a way of evaluating them through our sources, people that we do respect, and they give us the head thumbs up or thumbs down. It seemed like, again, back to this good old piece, which I thought was very good, about Billy, about where he finally found his niche, seems like. But I guess we're always going to have, as Franz says, these conflicts, these flare-ups, and these job changes. And coaches, let's remember, they're all very competitive people, and they don't like it sometimes. Some people get an edge on them. Ben, are you making too much out of this whole thing, or what do you think?
No. I mean, anything that happened in Florida is big news because it's Florida. But I do agree with Franz. Look, make no mistake about it. If the best coaching staffs have the most conflict, it just don't make it to the payment. I mean, you don't know how, people are going to talk about what Nick Saban did. Who's harder to work under than that? Everybody's under scrutiny. And that's the thing. One thing you realize is the best coaches are the most demanding on everybody, from the coaches to the players. So the situation with, if regardless of who the defensive coordinator was, if you can't get along with him, you gone. Listen, a D coordinator is hired. A new D coordinator is hired. You don't got to like it, but he ain't gonna keep going. I guarantee, because we don't know. It's all speculation. But if he had to move on, he had to move on. He will not be the first or the last. Let me tell you how at the University of Florida shakeup happened all the time. We ain't even talking about Coach Armstrong. He been gone, right? He's been. Let me get out of here. And he had an incredible second half of the season. The one thing that Billy Napier is proving to everybody is it ain't for everybody. You want to coach in Florida,
True, very true.
But what you hear about it is, it's actually true once you get here. But I'm never ever going to get mad at a coach or a player, because as a person that went there, I understand how crazy it is. Jeremy Foley had to replace Coach Spurrier. Coach Spurrier, my first 2 years was the last two. You talk about pressure. Who the hell do I get? Nobody. Because Urban Meyer wasn't Urban Meyer yet. You know what I'm saying?
Right,
so I think that when you start talking about the University of Florida and why it is what it is because whether you came and stayed or came and left, everybody say the same thing. Florida's different. It's a different place, man. And I know people try to say that everywhere, but man, at the end of the day, Coach Will Harris gonna have a 48-hour news span, and it'll go away. We're gonna move on, and just like you said, Franz, and listen, in the memoir of Franz Beard, college football is idiot proof. When we kick the ball off, no one talks about transfer portals, coaches that left, players that left, NIL. It's just that when there's no football left, what are we going to talk about? What do we fill up the headlines with? Coaches leaving, coaches coming, players getting injured, players not getting injured, who's on the players' watch list, who's going to SEC media days, spring football. So, hey, I'm not mad at Coach Will Harris. Coach Will Harris is a direct reflection of the ever-evolving door known as college football. It's moving all the time. But just like Franz said, if I'm a DB coach, and I see that there's a DB coach opening in Florida, I hope to God my resume is at the top. Because right now you get a shot to coach these DBs and coach in Florida. So somebody get an opportunity.
Yeah. All right. Let me jump in here and welcome Rob, and then go do a commercial. He's over from SEC Sidelines, our good friend, who's he and Brendan do a morning show. If you haven't seen it, you ought to. There it is right there. Follow them right there. Rob does a great job on the program. He had a really good one. I never thought I'd spend time listening to 10 minutes on bowling and women's touch football. But this morning I heard it with your guest. And you know what? It was interesting because everybody's got the same take on NIL deals and all that. Yeah. That was kind of fun. So,
yeah.
Hello, Rob.
Yeah, it's kind of got sidetracked there, but it was something Brendan said about trending topics. It was about, flag football being possible for a college sport, and something came up about bowling, the great bowling movies, and nobody will ever be as good as Roy Munson. But that was a fun topic. Yeah, I loved listening to what y'all were just saying about. Ben's right. Every school is different, has its own culture, and me looking at Florida from the outside, y'all looking from the inside out. I never can understand when Florida's not a dominant power in football, having seen what they've done with different coaches in the last 40 years. So, and I've got y'all picked to win 10 this coming year.
Well,
I can live with that.
You do?
I can live with that.
Yeah.
I'll live with 10 wins. I'll live with 10 wins any year. Give me any year, I'll take 10 wins. Yes.
Heck,
The
is
way
that
I
a
got it figured
playoffs?
is,
Yeah.
I got them at 8 in the regular season and 9 by winning a bowl game if they don't like the playoffs. But I think they will. I think they kind of got to make the playoffs, don't they? And it seems like there's a little bump in the road today with the news that Will Harris is leaving. The secondary coach is going to coach Miami, a team they play early on again. That's not always good. So that is a minus. But so far, I'll get you all on here now. And while I go get ready for my next commercial break, I would like each of you to take a minute and give Billy an early season grade on so far, not last season, but as of right now, today, what is this, February 13th, 2025? What's your grade for Billy Napier? Franz, you started out.
Right now, I'd say an A. And the reason I'd say an A is how many people have been arrested? 0. How many people graduated? We got the report back, and they had a tremendous report card for players graduating. They recruited well. They got the players they wanted out of the portal for the most part. And he goes into the spring without any serious negatives. You could say that losing Will Harris is a negative, but if it were your coordinator and you're losing him just before spring practice, that's a big deal. If you're losing a secondary coach, that ain't a big deal. Period. If you lose Jabbar Jalouk, that's a big deal, even though he's the running backs coach, because that guy is glue that holds the team together right there. But I'd give him an A. You haven't had Florida players in the newspaper headlines or on the police blotters, and you got people graduating and you're recruiting well.
Very good point there. You're right. Okay, set up for you, Ben. Next, you got to give him a grade on everything as of this day, not just last season's record, but how things are going as of today.
I mean, I give him an A for the simple fact that for this, when it comes to college, what gets everybody attention? Recruiting rankings. Weren't we in the top 10? Florida's in the top 10 in recruiting, right? Which means you getting the guys in. How many guys going to the combine? I think they got 9. Oh, so now you're being represented potentially on the next level, which is what they're going to get recruits in. And all we're talking about is a DB coach going down south. You are doing it. Because I think the thing about Billy Napier is, I'm going to keep saying this, we don't know what to do when the waters are not rocky. We so used to all hell breaking loose. We don't even know what to do when everything is calm. He has calmed the waters. He has told Florida Gator Nation, shh. What are y'all? Because we got so used to the chaos, there is no chaos. Now, can we go out and orchestrate some? Yep, we could do it like nobody can, but there isn't any. There isn't. So I give him an A because one, he got his guy at the QB position, which you can't win without one. Got him, check. DJ Lagway say, I'm going to help bring some guys in, bunch of top 10 guys, check. Got some legacy guys, check. Got a defensive coordinator, added a co-defensive coordinator and a former safety that went to Alabama. I like what Billy Napier is doing because he's doing it Billy Napier's way, which is slow and steady. But slow and steady might not win the race. It will finish it. So I give him an A for everything he's doing right now.
All right, so we're all homers, man. We'll get somebody who sees the whole picture every day. Sees it. Let's get it. That he bleeds a different color of orange and blue. His is down there on the plains. Rob Brown, you're an objective guy. You follow the program. We might be too close to it. Give us your take. What's Billy Napier's grade?
Well, I mean, Franz and Ben both made a lot of great points. And so you have to give B+ or an A at the very worst. You've got to get over the miscues in the Utah game, too many players on the field, some special teams mistakes. Damn, that was the first couple of years. Billy Napier, the way they closed in recruiting, the final 14 guys they got, a number of 4s and a few 5s, and some guys they pulled away from other schools. DJ Lagway's emergence as a stud quarterback is just making as a rising tide floats all boats. That's true. And I think, yeah, you lost a coach to Miami. Florida's a place people want to check on the resume they've coached at. Okay. So it's not going to be hard to go get another coach, and you got some good defensive linemen. Remember, last year when I picked Florida to win 8 games, I looked at that blue chip index. There's only 16 teams that have 50% of the roster 4 or 5-star players. And no team has ever won a national championship without being on the blue chip index. It's not ever happened, okay? I think Florida this year, you can look at all these big matchups in the spring coming up. I think Billy Napier, and I'm sure I made plenty of mistakes in being critical of him after the Texas A&M and Miami games. I think he is an OCD winner, and it's starting to prove itself. Ben knows this. Y'all all know this. Look, the way they closed in recruiting, that's the canary in the coal mine. Better days are ahead for Gator Nation. I mean, that's how this stuff works. And if they don't win 10 games this year, it'll be a shock. And if they're 9-1 going into the last couple of games, I don't know why they won't be, 10-2 or 11-1 just in the regular season. And then that will get you in the playoffs.
We won't go over the schedule tonight. It's not time, but I see 3 losses likely, but we'll see. Last year, we thought they had losses at the end of the year when they were playing LSU and Ole Miss, and guess what? They flipped the script. So let me do this Titan MRI. I'm going to come back. We're going to talk about Franz Beard's favorite subject, the red hot Gator basketball team. SEC is on fire, and right there at the top of the flame is the Gator basketball team with Todd Golden. Talk about hot. Boy, did he get hot. All right, Titan MRI is now Titan MRI and Imaging. They acquired a high-field MRI. Joe Coloria started a high-field MRI in 97. Now he's back. And Titan MRI and Imaging now has 3 locations to serve you. 2 in Gainesville with its Park Avenue location, and now the Millennium Center, and 1 in Lake City, serving all of Columbia County, Pleasant and Valdosta, Georgia. Titan MRI and Imaging offers the same great customer service. You can get rescheduled. You can get night appointments. They accept insurance or go through their convenient self-pay program. Check it out. If you need some kind of CAT scan, MRI, Titan MRI is your deal. Remember, it's Titan MRI Imaging now. Locations in Ocala, Gainesville, soon in Ocala, now in Gainesville area. Titan MRI Imaging. All right, guys, hoop. My goodness. Could it get any more blue blood than what's happened? Back to back. It's hard to believe a basketball program, friends, or the blue bloods they've had. They've never beaten ranked teams on the road back to back. It's amazing. And we got over this game, and you and I talked about it some again last night. And that game started out horribly with one of my favorite player going down, Alex Condon, in the first 30 seconds. And they already had lost Elijah Martin. And now they got to play in a hostile environment where, make no mistake, they may be only the 14th in the country. But Mississippi State's hard to beat in the hump. So what happened? The second half, whatever they did there, France, they need to bottle that again, coming out with a 17-0 run. Unbelievable. Talk about the brilliance of the players that we saw. Not the least is one of your favorites, Tom Hall.
Well, let me tell you what, there's a terrific analytics guy named Evan who has a site called evanmia.com. This guy's a PhD, and all he does is he spends his life scouring basketball. He has Tommy Hawk as the number 7 best player in the entire country. Wow. And that's based on the guys that make the most impact when they're in the ball game. All you got to do
that didn't mean he's the 6th man. Yeah, this is a different ranking. This is the 7th best player in the country.
Yeah. Yeah, I think I think he is very likely to be the sixth man of the year in the SEC. And all you got to do is look at his last 3 bowl games. Vanderbilt, Auburn, Mississippi State. All 3 games, Florida's undermanned. What does he do? 40 points, 27 rebounds, 15 assists, 8 block shots. I mean, and this guy comes off the bench and was a recruiting afterthought because before Florida offered, guess where he was going to go to school? Richmond, that big powerhouse in the west end of Richmond, VA. Just a few blocks from the Fan District in the Robin Inn, where you get the best lasagna in the world. Anyway, this is a guy, I'm telling you, this is a guy who impacts winning. And it doesn't always have to be with scoring, although he's proven the last 2 ball games he can pick up the slack there. He gets it through rebounding. He gets it through passing. But here's how he really impacts the game. Hustle. And I believe this guy lifts the energy level of the entire team because nobody wants to be on that floor and get out hustled by Tommy Hawk. Everybody says, well, if he's going to hustle like this, if he's going to dive for balls and do all this other stuff, I got to do it too.
Very inspirational.
I think he lifts the energy of the program better than any sixth man I can recall since back when Brett Nelson came off the bench in Billy Donovan's first time he ever got to the Final Four.
Yeah, we talk mostly football on this show. By the way, let me reintroduce because a lot of people online may not know us all. The guy on the top left was my brother. He's my grandson, Ben Troop, former great player in Florida and in the NFL. And
notice the family resemblance.
Yeah. What do you mean? What do you mean?
Listen, I will head back to that.
Look at that smile.
I don't have a mustache, baby.
Same smile. Those guys got to be related.
Heck here. So Ben Troop, of course, is with us every Thursday night. Does a terrific podcast, 84 Reasons. Rob Brown, SEC Silence, new show. If you haven't caught it, be sure you catch it because every morning he and this guy named Brendan are on. And there's the plug for 84 Reasons. And they do this great live show on Saturday, on Monday through Friday, sometimes a weekend. And I know you're talking basketball, friends. This is a fun team to watch and cover. You know, I love Denzel Aberdeen. I've loved him since I heard his name. You know, to me, Condon and Denzel Aberdeen are my favorite players. But this team, there's no telling how good they could be, friends.
Well, when you got a guy like Walter Clayton Jr., who, as they said the other day, they said, what is his range? When he gets off the bus.
Yeah.
I mean, he can flat out light it up. I think, Ken Pomeroy, the KenPom.com, says he's the second best player in the SEC behind Janai Broom. And I would go with that. I think this is a guy, as Todd has pointed out, who really and truly impacts the game in every way. You look at these last 2 ball games, Auburn and Mississippi State. First half, he scored in both games. Second half, what does he do? Passing the ball, facilitating. Mm-hmm. He knows they're coming after him to stop him from scoring. So what does he do? He makes sure everybody else scores. The other night against Mississippi State, 19 points, 6 rebounds, 6 assists. What do you have against Auburn? 19 points, 6 rebounds, 9 assists. This guy's a pretty good ball player, wouldn't you say?
And by the way, I didn't mean to skip Ben on that. I wanted to get his 2 cents. That line about off the bus reminded me of the late Augie Griner, who never met a shot he didn't like to take. He was there shooting the ball. His favorite thing was to say, I knew something was up when I got traveled on a road game with the Gators, and my own team started guarding me when I got off the bus because he was shooting the ball. All right, what's all the talk? Ben lives up in Savannah area. What's all the talk about Gator basketball up there, Ben?
I mean, the talk is Florida's always in it because they can beat you a lot of ways. Obviously, I want them to be more efficient shooting the 3 ball, but that's just basketball as a whole. People live and die by the three these days. Clayton, I mean, he's as good as advertised. I mean, because I think the thing about him that you like the most is he got the green light. And most players will not get the green light in college. He has it because he can ignite a team. I mean, I just think that when I watched the way Florida played against the Auburn team, who, let's face it, a 14-game winning streak, I don't care if it's basketball, football, that's hard to do. Bruce Pearl is a hell of a coach, right? And I just think that the way you go in Auburn and you can get a big win. Now, I mean, the odds makers or the schedule makers, they don't really look at the games because, they didn't move. I don't know how that happens. You lose and you don't move in the ranking, but that's another thing for another day. I think Florida is learning how to win in hostile environments. Florida is learning how to win ugly. Because in basketball nowadays, guys, everybody wants to shoot. Everybody wants to score. When you got guys from Florida who play scrappy basketball, I was very, very surprised. I mean, I was very, very impressed by Aberdeen, man, because I think the thing about him is he's streaky as a player. He's very athletic, but he's streaky. And I just think that, listen, when you call to play quality minutes against a team, I look at basketball the same way I look at football, man. I look at it like fights, man. It's not how many fights you had, it's who you fought. When you fighting Auburn, when you fighting Tennessee, and you beating them, games like, Mizzou or whatever, it still gets at you. But I think nothing against the ACC. I get it. You got them. You got the Dukes. You got the North Carolinas. You got the Virginias. SEC basketball is probably the best in the country when you look at top to bottom, who you getting week in and week out. But you know that a team like Auburn gonna be there. You know that Tennessee's gonna be there. You're gonna have Kentucky's gonna have talent. Arkansas gets to be on national TV because they got Calipari. They're gonna be on national TV now. But I just like the way Florida's playing. It's a scrappy bunch, and if the only thing scared me about Florida is we always put ourselves in the hole. We always you got to scrap to get back into a game. But at the end of the day, Coach Golden is as good as advertised. I think he's a guy that understands how to get the best out of his players. And like I say, man, you want to be, it used to be a time to where, we getting back to the days of where Florida was one of them teams holding up the mantle when you talk about the SEC basketball. And these guys around us have, found a way to get really, really good, really, really fast, or really, really consistent. But I just like the way they playing. Because like I say, I mean, I got a bunch of friends that played, in the SEC schools. A lot of them that played at Auburn that don't mind, every time we beat Auburn. Listen, we beat Auburn this weekend, but that SEC championship, tournament final, it stings. It does still sting. Got to move past it. But for one night, man, Florida did their thing, man. I mean, in the Plains, you get a big win like that. Bruce Pearl gonna always get my respect, but I just think that Coach Golden, he's letting the whole world know. Look, man, we gonna be here. We gonna scratch your claw to the end. And hey, man, it's always easier to coach when you winning. Your message resonates much easier when you winning. Because, like I said, man, I mean, I'm just happy to get back to just playing consistent basketball. And hey, man, we got with Clayton. Listen, the move of the offseason was Clayton said he was coming back. I was like, yes, sir, let's go. Because that he got range. I mean, he got range like Teddy Dupay, man. That boy will let it go. I mean, Will Clayton will let it go. But what is Todd Golden gonna say? I mean, shoot to you hot, shoot to you cold. I didn't like our 3-point percentage against Auburn. We're gonna have to improve that. But like I said, we got the win, so you'll take it. You'll take it.
Okay, Saturday, we have the Iron Bowl of basketball, and you've talked about it a lot, Rob. Talk about what that means. All-time biggest basketball game ever played in the state of Alabama. I know you've been talking about it on your show all week long, and we'll be talking about it next week. How about that? Basketball taking the top notch.
Well, I mean, it just shows you the commitments there in basketball. And I don't know if we've ever had a 1 versus 2 in the SEC in men's basketball, but we're going to have it Saturday. In AP polls, got Auburn 1, and coach's poll has Bama 1. So it's going to be good. It's going to be big, not just for the state of Alabama, but for the whole Southeastern Conference. And Ben was referencing the ACC, and Franz, talks about it a lot too. What's happened to them is the SEC has happened to them, and they're not going to recover. The SEC's just going to keep getting stronger. So this is a giant matchup. And then these Auburn and Alabama have to play each other again March 8th at Neville Arena in Auburn. So it's going to be ginormous. We will be talking about it on the College Roundtable tomorrow morning, and might even, who knows, what Brendan wants to do, may do a pop-up show Saturday, depending on what happens. But I will say this, Walter Clayton Jr. played at Iona, transferred back to Florida from Lake Wales, or what was it, Lake Wales or Bartow High School?
Lake Wales.
Okay, Lake Wales, yeah. So, in my opinion, the way he's playing right now, he'll do anything to help his team win. You got to put him, Zakai Ziegler, the point guard at Tennessee, Janai Broome, Josh Hubbard at Mississippi State. Mark Sears is having a good year at Alabama, but he's getting a lot of help. But it's pretty cool, guys. Let's cherish this, what we're seeing. You got Auburn 1, Bama 2, Florida 3 in the polls in basketball. I mean, have we ever seen this before? I think we're just getting started. I think basketball, as soon as I get off the show tonight, I'm going to go in the den. I got the fire roaring. It's about 30 degrees up here. Got some more snow coming next week. You can't beat a 5-mile run with the dogs, a great meal, a fire, Gator bait, the Buddy Martin show, and watching some college basketball with an ice cold Ham's beer. Life is great, man.
Yeah, there you go.
Here's the thing I'll throw in there, Rob. And when you're talking about number 1 versus number 2, we see it a lot with Carolina and Duke over the years. I mean, and we grew for years to expect that, that when they played, one was going to be 1, the other was going to be 2, and we expected that for years. The SEC is so good that Jay Billis says the SEC is the greatest basketball league ever assembled. Think about that.
Yeah,
this is a guy who played for Mike Krzyzewski, played against Dean Smith, grew up in that era, has known every coach that coached the game since he started being a broadcaster. And this is a guy that says that the SEC is scary and the best league ever assembled.
Yeah.
Jerry Palm says 14 SEC teams make the NCAA tournament. The only ones that don't are LSU and South Carolina.
Yeah. And look what teams have to go through to get a win at the Colonial Center in Columbia to beat South Carolina. And you're looking, this is historical. Last year, we were high on the conference. Bama got to the Final Four, but we thought the conference would do better. I think this year, gentlemen, you're going to have a bunch of SEC teams make deeper runs this year. But to see 1, 2, and 3 in the polls, all SEC, it doesn't take all the pain away from the football season, but it's a sign that this league won't back down from anybody. I mean, Ben, Buddy, Franz, Brendan, damn, every night. I mean, this beats reruns of Maude. I can tell you that.
Did y'all play football at Auburn?
Yeah, we have a club. It's a club sport, Ben. It's the last few years it's been a club sport, but we're hoping with the bake sale profits that we can get the football program going again.
You call Tim Cook and say, "Hey, we need another $100 million."
Yeah. Wow.
Hey, guys, here we are talking about basketball being the best in the country and Florida being a top 3 team. It's certainly a flip-flop. Franz made a comment, I guess it was yesterday, and this has been discussed someplace. I've been asking, I'm sure you have. Could it be possible? Now, I'm already on the record on this, that there will be 4 SEC teams in the Final Four. Rob?
No. They'll cannibalize each other. 1985, Villanova, Georgetown, and St. John's got to that Final Four. And Villanova beat Georgetown 55-53. I think the SEC, the powers that be, will spread the teams out to where they'll eat each other up before they get there. I don't think they could handle it, because if they let the free market work, there would be 4 SEC teams in the Final Four this year. I wouldn't be shocked.
Man,
I mean, I would love to see it. I would definitely love to see it, because I think what it does is it definitely, obviously people are already sick of, people think that, because of Michigan, Ohio State the last couple of years in the SEC football is just, it's abysmal, which it's not. It's definitely not. I think if you get 4 teams in the SEC in the Final Four, once again, Greg Sankey is the most powerful man in athletics in college. And something like that would be crazy, because then it becomes who will be in the Final Four. So which 4 would it be? Would it be at Florida? Would it be at Auburn? Would it be at Tennessee?
Well, give me 4 teams that could be in there.
I mean, Florida, Auburn, Tennessee, a sneaky team. I mean, maybe, I don't know, maybe like a Mississippi State sneaks in there or something crazy. I don't know. I don't know. As long as Florida gets in, it doesn't matter.
I'll tell you what.
Let me get Rob. Rob, go ahead, Franz.
Well, Ben, I want to hear Franz. Yeah.
Go ahead, Franz.
4 teams can make it, and here's why. And it's not that your top 3 or 4 teams aren't that good. Ben just brought up the name Mississippi State. I don't think they got a prayer, but Ole Miss does. The Aggies certainly do, because the Aggies are going to turn every single game into a rock fight, and they got bigger rocks to throw than anybody else for some reason. Buzz Williams finds these guys that grew up in quarries, throwing, instead of playing basketball, they shot rocks and they throw them at people.
The real rock chalk.
Yes.
Yeah.
They can. The Aggies are capable of doing it, and because they are maybe the hardest team to prepare for in the Southeastern Conference, because everybody's physical in the league, but you know how physical they are, and they find a way to out physical everybody. You can't prepare for their level of meanness and toughness and physicality. And Buzz Williams, I love the guy. What a good coach and a good human being.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Any final thoughts? I'm going to do this and get our Renstar Medical Research spot in here. And Rob, you and Brendan, if you're there, Brendan, you can jump on. Tell me about tomorrow morning's show. Heck, you guys are only a few hours away from doing your show.
Yeah.
Here's Renstar. Let me tell you about Renstar, and then Rob, you and Brendan share following thoughts on tomorrow's show and talk about the weekend's basketball times, the game, the 4 o'clock Florida game, I believe it is. And then, 4 o'clock Auburn, Alabama game. I don't know what time Florida plays on
8:30.
8:30. Okay. All right. So let me just tell you about our friends at Red Star, why they're so important. Number one, they are friends, have been for a long time. They're great people. They have the interests of your health and mine in all things that they do. And they want you to know the clinical research trials they do. Clinical research trials are so critical to our health. There's right there is the QR code. Click on it. And they're looking for people who would like to take part of these clinical research trials. It's beneficial to you. It won't cost you on your insurance. You may be privileged to get some medications not available to others. And you also could be compensated for your time and travel if you are picked. These are ongoing. I don't know which ones they're having now, but you're going to restart that net and find out. They're always having them on measles and whooping cough and mumps and all kinds of things. And they can tell you how you might get in. You could be paid and compensated for time and travel. I also want to say something about the people. Joe Sorrentino is my good friend for many years. He's the father of Joey, my dentist in Ocala. Joey Sorrentino, former star defensive back for the Florida Gators. And then Mary Brantley, who is one of the great people I know. She's married to the great Scott Brantley. They're all part of this family. And it was actually Mary and Joe that founded this business after they graduated, got out of South Florida and came up to Ocala. Renstar Medical Research seeking tomorrow's answers to the health questions of today. Rob and Brendan, if you're there, talk to us about tomorrow's show, and then we'll say good night to Ben and France.
Yeah, we'll have the Friday college roundtable going, talking a lot about these SEC matchups coming up this weekend. Frank Duffy, Doug Dean, hopefully Dave Tompkins can jump back on with us, but we're going to get into it heavy because it's just going to be another great weekend. And these basketball games are so good in the SEC. Saturdays are starting to feel more like football Saturdays. You plan your day around them. So we're going to get heavy into it. And of course, Brendan will have the latest trending topics and discussions, and we'll have that structure. It helps us to stay in our lanes. We're a sanctuary show. We'll do everything we can to not talk about the NIL and the portal. I promise you, we will do. And Ben will be back on with us next week, hopefully. And I'm telling you, the Gators, you look at this: Auburn, Alabama, Florida, 1, 2, 3. Yeah. This is so big, and we cover all three of these schools really close, and nobody has better reporters and media people like GatorBaitMedia.com. So love being on this show. Thanks for letting me join y'all.
Thank you. You want to read Franz? He's the best in basketball and all pretty good football. I'll go to sign up, you folks. Go to GatorBaitMedia.com, sign up, find out about this little boutique where you get quality writing and like no place else. And I guarantee you it's worth your money alone to read Franz Beard during basketball season. There's Gator Bait Media right there. Thank you very much for that. And hey, guys, we would be remiss not mentioning that baseball season opens up, and we know what Sully's got there, and also the number one softball team in the country. Franz and Ben, jump in. Talk a little about baseball and softball.
I'll be at baseball tomorrow night. They're starting out the season number 7. They're better than that. This is a team that'll be in the College World Series for the 10th time in Kevin O'Sullivan's 18 seasons on the job. Count on it. They're really, really good softball team. Taylor Shoemaker, another home run tonight.
6. That's 7 in 7 days?
7 in 9 games.
9
games.
Has. They were
Jocelyn Erickson had 3 RBIs, and this
crazy.
team can flat out hit the ball.
That's crazy, Ben. You ever hit that many home runs? I didn't hit that many home runs, huh?
No, I was gonna say nobody at Florida reloads like softball or baseball. Nobody. I don't care what. Listen, love football, love basketball. But Coach O'Sullivan, listen, he's keeping receipts. He knows that, we got teams like Mississippi State and Ole Miss and Tennessee talking. Tennessee finally did it. Congratulations, Tennessee. You finally were a bride. You weren't a bridesmaid. We get it. Congratulations. But guess what? We coming for everybody. And that's no disrespect to none of them. We coming for all of them. I'm looking forward to it. If Greg Sankey is the most highly sought after, or he's the most powerful person in college athletics, Scott Strickland gonna have the most freaking fly miles, guaranteed. Nobody will have more fly miles than Scott Strickland, 100%.
Hey Ben, all I'm going to say to you is this: I don't want to have any debates, but pitchers and catchers report this week. Okay?
Hold on, buddy.
No, I don't want to argue with you about this.
I knew you were gonna try to do that, buddy. Listen, I'm just telling you. Last year, I didn't wear my Brave stuff.
You shouldn't have.
I'm telling you right now, I got some fresh A-Town Downs, and I'm coming. I'm just saying.
Okay, we got to go play in George Steinbrenner Stadium this year. We don't got no stadium.
Listen. Y'all are the St. Pete Rays. Y'all are not the Tampa Bay.
No, not no St. Pete Rays.
That's where y'all play at.
Well, you're the Marietta, and you're the Marietta Braves, okay?
Listen. We can be the Kyle Parkway Braves, but guess what? We got a World Series as we got to reach.
All of a sudden, man. Good night, guys. Great job. Thank you very much.
Go Gators.
All right, great job.
See y'all.